Welcome back, episode 3, the AQUATICS podcast. Today we have Adam Rizica joining us. Hello, Adam.
How are you? Nice to be here, guys.
Nice to meet you.
Your day been going well?
It's been going great.
And my dad back on, Mark. Say hi.
Hi. Good to be here again.
So, Adam, tell us a little bit about yourself. Anything?
About myself, I grew up in Brookline.
Nice.
Went to Lincoln School. Went to Brookline High.
What college did you go to?
Carnegie Mellon in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were you in a frat?
I was in a fraternity. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
How was that?
That was great. I enjoyed it a lot. Yeah. I'd recommend it.
What was interesting about it? Tell us about the initiation. What happened?
Well, the initiation is very secret. I don't know if I can talk about that. Are we
It's
old
okay.
enough that we can talk about it?
It's been a while.
Probably.
Don't tell them everything.
Okay. We'll
Hold
keep
back
something.
a little.
Hold a little bit. Okay. Well, let's see. First of all, you got to understand, Carnegie Mellon is like a pretty intense engineering school,
Yeah.
Among other things. And but when I went out to visit my buddy who was going there, the year before I went out to visit, and he took me to like 2 or 3 parties, and I didn't really know that much about Carnegie Mellon, so I walked away thinking, God, that's what they mean when you go to a party school. Like, this is a party school.
Right.
There were 3 parties. I don't know if I'd been to a party.
You've never been. That was your first party
That was
ever.
my first
How
party,
old
and we
were
went
you?
to 3. I was, 18.
Oh, so, okay.
So I, years later, I just want to say, I visited my brother and my sister at Syracuse University.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was a party school.
That's a party school.
That was a party school. Carnegie Mellon turns out not to be a party school, but I didn't know until sort of 3 years in.
Yeah.
As far as I was concerned, it was there were parties every
Do
weekend.
you know
That's what they
Syracuse
meant.
is a top 3 party school in the state?
No, is it really?
With like Daytona.
I
right?
believe it because
Daytona, Miami, and UC Davis in like Syracuse.
You
like,
looked
top
this
4.
up?
Tully Sada told me.
Oh, tell me.
well, I believe it because
she knows that. That's the thing. She has to know
Fifth grade.
that.
In 5th
I
grade.
still
Yeah.
remember.
I was going to
Damn,
2
she
or
knew
3
back then.
parties on a
Two-
weekend at Carnegie Mellon.
Yeah.
And you went to Syracuse, and at Syracuse,
You said
they
2-3 parties a weekend?
well, no, you could go to, right?
Oh, okay.
Like, we'd
Okay.
just have one party every once in a while on our, every couple of weeks in our fraternity.
Yeah.
But you go to Syracuse, and they had a whole street dedicated to partying.
Well, like
You'd
it's-
all go down there, and they served, as far as I could tell, anybody, anything.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, it was.
But it's so
Much
much
different.
bigger.
What year
than
was
where
this? What
you
year
went.
were you
Oh,
at?
this was 1985. So
Wait, so you
that
would
was
go.
7.
This
That
was
was recent.
in
Oh,
1980. How old were you in 1985?
1985, I was 19.
So you were a freshman,
Yeah, I was a freshman.
and you would be going. This was your first time away from home. You hadn't
First
gone
time.
to any parties.
I had never been. I didn't even go to a high school party.
You didn't go to high school party,
I was
and
a
you
late bloomer.
you were going. You were what?
Late bloomer.
Late bloomer, and you were going to like 2 parties a week now.
Well, no, because when you go to college, and at the beginning, sometime at the beginning of the 4 years, they invite you to come and rush or come and visit and meet people at fraternities.
Yeah.
So every weekend they would have sort of 5 to 7 parties at the different fraternities. So you could go to 3 or 4 of them.
Yeah.
Because you were trying to meet people and see which one you might want to join.
So
If
you had to
wanted
pick a
join one.
fraternity you would join.
The way it works is you pick, you go visit lots of fraternities.
There's multiple. Okay.
Yeah, there might be, like our campus, I think there were probably 12 to 15 fraternities on campus.
Wow.
How many people are in the school?
We were 4,000 undergrad, 2,000 grads, so
Really?
6,000 total.
That's pretty
So-
small.
so what was the?
How many were you?
Guys, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Did you guys ever watch Animal House?
No.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Okay, so actually,
Animal House.
so a good reference for your viewers and for you guys is to summarize Uncle Adam's experience. Just watch Animal House. Exactly like that.
So wait, what was the?
I don't think so, but
was the-
conceptually in your mind, it was like that.
What was the
That's
name of
all I
the
can
frat?
say.
What was the name of the frat you were in?
ZBT, Zeta Beta Tau.
That's actually a really cool name.
Yeah.
So tell us about what was the initiation like once you agreed to be in the frat? What did they
Well,
do?
okay, so you agreed to be in a frat. Well, first of all, you agree to be in a frat. They give you a bid, so they give you a. Would you like to join?
They,
And
like the
then
frat. Who's they?
The, the fraternity
there's
itself.
a
Say there's 50 people in the fraternity. They
Yeah.
have to vote to give you an offer, and then because they like you, and then you might get 1 to 3 offers, 1 to who know how many offers, and then on the designated day you have to show up at their fraternity within like 2 hours and say, "I'm going to go with you. I pledge you."
Really?
Yeah.
You,
And then
Is it like in the movies how they like make him like get on one knee or whatever?
Yeah,
No, you
it's
just show
like
up,
an
they give
Animal
you-
House. You just gotta watch Animal.
he's going to say that this whole podcast.
So,
But then, or by the way, a more modern Animal House, which could give you a sense for it, is you know the sitcom Greek.
no.
Is that right? I never
Yeah,
watched it.
it's been like 10 years ago now, but Animal House is when Mark and I were in college, so that was sort of our vision of what it would be like too.
Right.
So you had
And,
this image in your mind.
I had
and
this
you,
image in
you
mind.
pledged to the ZBT.
I pledged.
What
to
happens
ZBT.
next?
So then the next weekend you have your first event. You are a pledge. That means you, within the fraternity system, within your fraternity, are the lowest of lowest. First they're
Oh, there's,
recruiting
like,
you.
rankings?
What?
Okay.
Well,
There's
I
like
don't
a-
mean
there's like a
no,
depth
just
chart.
first they recruit you. Then once you join, you sort of have to prove yourself that you're worthy of
Are
continuing
there
to
like,
join.
How
are
is
there
that
like
like-
What?
Elaborate on that.
Beers or whatever.
Elaborate on this.
Well, I would tell you. So this is actually interesting. I would say if the answer is that once you pledge, the first thing they want to do is have you shotgun beers.
Of course.
Then no. If that's it, then by the way, you should probably walk away. I mean, unless you're really into that. There are some fraternities that do it, but I'd just tell you that as somebody who, over time, you might get involved in some of that, but in general, that should not be the first main thing. Right?
So what-
Although there is a lot of drinking, I won't
So-
get take that away. But no, the first thing is
The
the first
initiation.
weekend. First weekend, not initiation. Your initiation is at the end of like 3 months once you've been able to
Oh,
earn
really?
your way in.
Wow.
That's
So
when
that's
you become
oh,
a brother.
wow, this
That's
is
when you
really-
become an official brother. You're not an official brother. They can blackball you up until the next.
Oh,
3
Oh,
months.
so it's like
They can
So
get
this
rid
is
of
a
you.
whole process.
Oh, this is a process. Yeah.
So
yeah.
what's
Alright,
the
tell
first
me
weekend
about it.
called?
So the first weekend isn't anything. You just have an event. They tell you to show up on Friday night, and because we've both seen Animal House, so we show up on Friday night. We have no idea what's going to happen, right? And so they blindfold us, put us in
that
vans,
sounds crazy.
and
You
take
mean-
us on a drive that lasts 2 hours or something. And so it's going to last this van ride lasts 2 hours, and you're just thinking Animal House. You're like, holy crap! What are they going to do? They're going to leave me in the middle of nowhere because that's what they do.
So
in
they
Animal
put you,
House.
they blindfold you, and they put you in vans.
Yeah.
And they just drive you, and you're blindfolded the whole
You're
time.
blindfolded. Yeah.
And you don't know these guys really.
Well, no, you don't know them too well, but but you've gotten to know them over the 2 months that you've pledged, right? So you're going, and then they take you out of the vans, and they have you put your hand on the back of the guy in front of you, and they start marching you, and you're marching, for a good half hour,
Wow.
and you're thinking, and through bushes, right? You can feel the plants around you. You can't see anything.
But you don't know where you are.
No, you don't know where you are. And in fact, again, because of Animal House and your vision of what happens at a fraternity, you're like, these guys are going to leave me in West Virginia and with no money, no nothing, and I'm going to have to get back. And you're like, shit, I knew that's what happened at these things. This is bad.
So what happens?
Right? So they line us all up. And they give us some speech, which you sort of remember all of it. It's sort of like you're going to get fucked in a second speech, right? I don't mean that, sorry, but I don't know if I could say that on the air here.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
But it's basically things are not going to go your way in a second, right? That's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And you're sitting there. That's what the speech reminds you of.
Right.
And then they say, okay, take off your blindfolds. And you take off your blindfold, and you are standing in a parking lot in the front of an all-night bowling alley.
Okay.
And all the fraternity brothers are there, and you all run it. You all walk in. They're like, "Yeah, you thought we were going to leave you in the middle of nowhere? What kind of assholes do you think we are?" And we're thinking, big assholes.
So you're in an all-night bowling alley.
And we go in and bowl till like 4 a.m.
Really?
And, with them and have a great time. And then we
That's
go.
awesome. That
So it was
sounds
good, right? That was good. It was fun. So it's sort of it makes you feel like something's not
So
going to go well. And then
were
it
you?
does.
Were you?
But they didn't all go that way. That's the first event.
Okay.
The second event was very different.
Oh.
But we can talk about that. But what any questions about the first event?
Did you stay at a house? Like a frat house?
Well, there is a fraternity house, and some of the guys live in the fraternity house.
Yeah.
Some of the guys live in a fraternity house, but you're a freshman. You're not. You can't live in a fraternity house, so you're living in your dorms, and you go visit the fraternity
Oh,
house.
because it's off campus. Or?
It's on. Actually, Carnegie Mellon was on campus, and in fact, we had a cook, and you could
Had a cook.
do your meal plan through there and stuff.
Really?
Yeah, it was great. Lil was our cook. She was great. She was,
You remember her name?
Oh, Lil, yeah, because Lil had been the cook there forever. Lil was like this.
At the house.
At the house. So, I mean, she commuted in and worked every day, but Lil was this 70-year-old black woman that
That's
was.
all.
No, I know. I just say that. I mean, you got to think about somebody who at that
Paint a word
point,
picture, right?
No, somebody who at that point is
Right.
70 years old. It had been, is black, had been through a lot of things that were very different than what I'd been through, and Lil had a scar down her throat, which she described to all of us that she'd like had her throat cut and been left for dead, and then worked her way back. I mean, she was a character, right? She was a
Right.
character. She was lovable and great, and she, think about it. Here is the only woman in a fraternity with 80 brothers.
Wait.
50,
Yeah, I thought. Never mind. I
80 guys all together,
Yeah.
and she's got to keep those people in order. You
When
need
you-
a tough woman.
When
to
you
do
said
that.
80 brothers, I thought you meant she was.
Oh no,
she had 80
we
siblings.
had
Yeah,
80,
yeah, I know what
80
you mean.
members, and she's coming in every day. She's got to keep those guys in order. So she's got to
like-
be tough.
yeah.
she's tough, but she had the heart of gold, and she had great food. So anyway, I don't know why we got onto that. But
So,
we
what
were
was
back.
your favorite moment from you being in the frat?
From pledging from that
Overall,
experience?
the 4 year. You were in the frat for 4 years.
Yeah, I was in a frat for 4 years.
Were you like ahead?
Yeah. Did you ever climb the depth chart?
I mean, I'd say, did I ever sort of participate in a way in which I contributed back to the community I was in, right?
Yeah.
So, I was a bar manager, so I was responsible for taking care of, we had a bar downstairs in the basement. I was responsible for ordering the beer. I remember the age was 18 then, so it was, I could drink, everybody could drink.
Did you ever? Oh, sorry. You can.
And then,
hold on. The age
in
was 18?
Pennsylvania.
Oh,
Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania.
Did you ever get in any fights?
Did I ever get any fights?
Yeah.
Did I tell you this story?
With your frat boys?
No, well, I did get it. So the fight that I got in that I remember, there were some near fights. There were some fights. The one that I remember was probably my sophomore, junior year. I think I had a little bit to drink.
Yeah.
And, you have to remember, there's a quadrangle. Do you know what a quadrangle is? It's sort of like this grassy area in the middle, and you have the fraternities all around the side. You have these buildings all around the side. So you'd have a party, and there'd be lots of people. Because 5 of the fraternities would be having parties at the same time. So you'd all be out. You'd be in the fraternity. You'd be outside the fraternity. You could drink outside. You could drink inside. And I remember one time it had a little bit much to drink, and I was sort of at the fraternity next door, sitting on a brick wall, just having my beer, and this girl comes up and sits next to me, and we're talking because she was in my class, and I had a bit of a crush on her. And so we're just talking. And this guy, this big football player. Now, Carnegie Mellon, that doesn't mean much, but, he was much bigger than me.
Can you give us a little tail of the tape?
You mean how big he was?
Yeah, like how.
Well, I'd say if I'm 6 foot, he had to be 6'3", and if I was at that point, I was 170 pounds, so he had to be like 250.
Oh wow.
Right.
6'3", 250.
Yeah, so he's
a
bigger than me.
big man.
He's a big guy.
That's a
6'3",
lineman.
250.
No,
Yeah.
that's not a line.
Oh, he probably was a lineman,
In
actually.
those days.
For Carnegie Mellon, he was probably a lineman.
That's not as much tall as though. He's
They were
he's
smaller in those days.
That's right.
He's
right.
massive.
They were
Well,
way
we were
smaller
tier
than-
3 too. Carnegie Mellon is not,
And even
wasn't a
smaller.
party school really. Wasn't top tier football.
he
Right?
was
No.
massive though. He was
Yeah, he
huge
was
guy.
massive relative to me.
Right.
So
He had like 80 pounds. On him.
yeah. So
3
I'm
inches.
sitting there, but I'm a little, again, I have a crush on this girl. I'm a little drunk. He comes, sits next to her, puts his arm around her. He's on that side where I'm here. She's talking to her.
Okay.
He puts his arm around her from that side, and he looks at me and he goes, whatever. Let's say the girl's name is Emma. He goes, Emma and I were the best of friends. We are we're like going out together. And he leans over and gives her a big kiss.
Yeah.
And I think, what the heck was that crap? And I look at him and I'm like, well, Emma and I have known each other for years, and you guys might be going out, but we have been like together forever. And I lean over and give her a big kiss too. And the next thing, I don't know if it was his girlfriend or not. I don't know. If
you didn't know.
I had no idea if he was giving me crap or not. But I thought, what an asshole, right? Like that he did that. And I don't know if he's boyfriend or girlfriend.
See?
But it didn't seem to me because I was having a nice conversation with her.
Yeah.
And I got
He
this
just
crush
came
on
in,
her,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so next thing I know, I feel on the back thing somebody picking me up by the shirt. It's him. He's picking me up. His whole face is red, right? you can see
6'3",
whatever I
250.
did, he was pissed. And next thing I know, he just smacks me, and I'm flying down onto the ground, right?
Oh my gosh.
And thank God, Dan, what's Dan's last name? Dan, it'll come to me. Anyway, Dan, my fraternity brother. Dan Johnson, my fraternity brother, yes. It comes running down. He sees this whole thing happening. Dan is like 180, 190, 6'2". He's not that big. He played rugby with me. We both played rugby, so we'd been beaten up a lot anyway. But so Dan Johnson comes running down,
Yeah.
smacks the guy, right? Takes me by the back of the shirt and literally drags me across 2 yards into our fraternity.
He saved you.
He saved me. To this day, if I see Dan Johnson, and I do, we've been camping and stuff together over the years, and I'm like, Dan, you saved my life.
That's a great.
And Dan drags me into the fraternity, says some alarm, and there's 20 guys outside. 20 guys outside, all ready to get in a fight with the football fraternity, which you do not want to be in a fight with the football fraternity.
So you have
The only
it's
good
like
news was that most of our fraternity, because I started the rugby club, played rugby, and so we generally got beat up a lot, and so we weren't too worried about getting beat up. But yeah. Then they all sort of faced him down. I was like passed out. So the funny part about this whole thing is, so we don't get in a big fight, right? We don't get in a big fight. Things cool down. Everybody, they take their guy away. They've put me away inside. So the next day, I'm walking along, and this girl comes up and says, "Are you okay?" Right? This is the same girl.
it's the same girl. This is Emma.
I'm going to classes now,
Yeah.
right? Emma. She says, "Are you okay?" And I said, "You are the only girl I've kissed where I saw stars."
Well, that's a good line. Like it.
Do you have any
Anyway,
further questions?
I don't
That's
know.
great.
Does the walk of shame exist? Like,
Does the walk of shame? Who do you think owns the walk of shame? Is that a man thing, a girl
No, a
thing,
female
both
thing, but
Yeah.
like as being a brother, right, in the frat house.
Well, you got to remember, like,
What did you say?
if you're a girl and you go spend the night in a fraternity,
Right.
right? Like, there's 50 guys in there,
yeah.
and when you wake up the next morning and walk out, at least 10 of those guys are awake and just mulling around doing whatever. So I guess that whether you're ashamed or not ashamed, I mean, I don't know if the
So
guy
it's a walk.
By the way, should the guy or the girl be? I don't know that anybody should be any more ashamed than anyone else, but you are gonna have to walk through those 10 guys.
Yeah.
And all 10 guys know you've spent the entire night, so
Right.
probably you're feeling a little uncomfortable. We don't. But you don't. As a guy, you don't. You don't say anything or anything. It's just
Right.
like,
Yeah, you know, like
yeah. But the walk of shame is all about. Did you go out all night, whatever you did, wake up, and the whole point is that you're walking home in the same clothes you went out with last night.
yeah.
And therefore, clearly,
That's
you
not a
didn't
great
go home
look.
to go to sleep. Right. And I don't know if it should be the walk of shame, but it is a funny walk, right? Because if you've ever been up all night and then walked home in the same clothes, which I have, and I'm sure Mark has, you're like, Mark and I are both late bloomers, so I can. We probably both didn't ever experience that for any relationship-oriented thing until our senior year in college.
What else would that be? Why else would you do that?
You could just be at parties all night and they go till 6 in the morning and then go
6 in
home.
the morning. When did they start?
Well, when I was there, I don't know when they start today. But parties in general start at 10 p.m. Is the start. People really get there around 10:30, 11.
Mm-hmm.
The band starts at about
So that's
10:30 or whatever. We used to have bands, so you'd pay like $200 to have a band all
It's like
night.
8 hours solid of partying.
Yeah, but it was rarely till 6 a.m. So the second event was great. The second event.
Tell me about the second event.
Fraternity. So just because you a lot of the whole fraternity takes place around this house, right?
How
So-
big is the house? The house is.
The house is, probably 30 guys are all sleeping there, right? So 30 rooms, right? And you usually have a roommate. You have one
So
or two
this
roommates.
is a
So it's
massive house.
Yeah, it's like an apartment building with a general on the first floor. There's a big TV room. There's a big kitchen with a dining room, and then there's a basement that has a bar and
Such a vibe.
and
But it's not a house; it's an apartment building kind of thing.
It is, but we call it a house because
There's a
it's
bar
very
in it?
social, right? It's not like an apartment where people don't know each other or people,
This is you're with your boys all the time, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I thought it was like
The
a
only
regular
guy in
house,
that
and like
building-
everyone.
Oh, they can be.
Crazy.
So,
Can you
so
imagine
you're
that?
exactly right. Sometimes it can be an old house and people just have rooms.
Yeah.
It just depends. Ours happened
That
to
was
be.
like a huge thing.
So did you ever
Everyone
get-
had their own room.
Yeah. No. Like everybody had. Nobody, I think, had a single. I think it was all doubles or triples. Yeah.
So
And
did
you
you?
customized your room, but because it was your fraternity, you could
Oh.
go in like we built in our room, and we're engineers, but we would go in to get more room. We would build a loft on the top half. You know what I mean?
They let
And
you
you'd
do
both
that.
sleep up there,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
then you'd
okay.
have your studying underneath, and
Yeah,
then you go to the whatever place you could go to buy cheap used furniture, and you'd
The
buy for
olden
like
days
$20 a
IKEA.
couch.
You go to Alston or wherever.
Yeah,
it
you
was
go
in
to,
Pittsburgh.
well, yeah,
This
but
was
where
in-
is it that you go and buy, you buy used furniture?
Yeah.
Where is it? Like Goodwill. Goodwill.
There you
Those
go.
guys have the greatest
feel
stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Greatest stuff, man. Goodwill, you get like $20. You
Perfect
get
for
a great
college.
couch. It's the most comfortable.
Yeah.
My mom even liked it when she came.
Yeah.
Your mom came to visit your frat house.
Oh, yeah, yeah. My mom had a beer with me at the fraternity. She didn't have lots of beers with me, but she would come down and have a beer. It was nice. It was a nice bar. We had a nice, beautiful bar. So the second event, there's a lot. When you're a fraternity, at the beginning of the summer, you come back a week early and you have to clean the house. That's just part of it because you got to get it all cleaned up and ready for the next year.
Yeah.
But the second event, which is probably 2 months in, you come on Friday night, and again, you don't know what's going to happen, and they blindfold you and they take you out. When I was taken out through the woods on this one, which they didn't put you in a car, they just took you out in the woods, and you don't know where you're going. But we sort of now figured out how to get the blindfolds up a bit, and I look out, and I'm horrified. I look out, and the football fraternity, the ATO guys, freaking stark naked, running up and down this hill over and over with their fraternity brothers going, "Move, you slimy shit! Get up that hill!" Right? And then you go up and down naked. I don't know how they got them naked. I don't know how they did it. All I can think is put that thing back down and keep going and hope to God this isn't
That's not
what's going to happen.
That's not something you want to see.
No,
really.
you don't want to see it. And by the way, our fraternity in general, like this is what I say to the kids when they go off to college. I said, if you get to a point where a fraternity really asks you to do something that's unsafe or not good,
What are you doing?
just tell them to fuck off. And the reason you tell them to fuck off is because either they will then say, okay, we're just kidding, and won't cause you to do it, or they'll start to get aggressive and say you got to do it. And if they say you got to do something that's unsafe, or which we didn't do in our fraternity, really. I mean, we came close, but not. But if they ask you to do something that's unsafe or not right, then either they're going to back off, or you should just say screw it. This is not the place for me. But we're in the second. So we come on Friday night. They take us through the woods. We get back. We think there's going to be now we think there's going to be a party or something great because
Because you think you're part of them, right?
Well, no, because we went
Oh,
bowling last weekend. Right? We get they bring us down in the basement.